What red flags do you recognize in yourself? I'm bad at confrontation and will just avoid people or situations instead. I can also be the friend that tells you what you want to hear rather than what you need to hear. I'm working on it every day. I've come to learn that nearly everyone just wants emotional support, not unsolicited advice, and needs to learn lessons for themselves. Don't feel bad about it. I'm also confrontation avoidant, which isn't ideal in serious relationships, but with friends and acquaintances I don't consider it a problem. I don't have to agree with everything someone does to consider them a friend. A subconscious fear of rejection that keeps me from connecting with people. I'm afraid of commitment because I don't like dragging people down, and I'm scared of being judged. It doesn't excuse them, but I'm pretty sure all of my red flag behaviors can be traced back to those two anxieties. Texting makes me anxious, so I'm an awful texter. Both in texting and IRL, I either go too much or too little. I'm bad at being completely authentic with potential partners because I always think I'll hurt/offend if speaking up about a problem, or bore if talking about myself, them. I end up holding my tongue and not opening up because it scares me. Being like I want this, or this is my girlfriend/boyfriend feels wrong, so I turn to avoidance. Most of my affection is through wordless gestures. Regardless of intentions, it's not very good behavior. I'm sure it makes other people feel unwanted. This is me, except I managed to get married, and sometimes when I think about it, I'm amazed someone asked me to marry him and then stayed married to me. These tendencies did make my marriage way harder than it had to be for a while though, since I wouldn't say what I needed or wanted, just kind of dealt with things as they were, and/or avoided thinking about it, until I reached an internal breaking point. All that along with my compulsive behaviors, vindictive nature, and extreme laziness really make it amazing that anyone at all puts up with me, friends included. I'm deeply self-isolating, because I tend to go all or nothing with friendships. If I feel someone isn't reciprocating my time and energy, or isn't as attached to me as I'm to them, I flee out of embarrassment and bitterness, and move on to another friendship. The cycle repeats. Who I feel this on a spiritual level. I tend to be hot and cold with this too, so sometimes I'll isolate myself, and other times I'll be clingy, and good luck figuring out which one I'm gonna be today. I'm not sure this is a bad thing. One of my problems is that I hung on to one-sided friendships for way too long, and expended so much mental and physical energy for people who didn't give a shit about me. Now if someone doesn't reciprocate, I bounce. I deserve to have people in my life who actually want to be there. This is a bad thing. It results in not having any friendships. There is in fact a happy medium between having insufficient boundaries and living imprisoned behind your own walls. These two comments are basically my internal monologue depending on the day. Something I've been trying to work on with my therapist is recognizing my own boundaries and the boundaries of others. There were undoubtedly a few friendships where my generosity and emotional support were taken advantage of. The other person felt good having me around, but did not respond when I needed them. I need to respect my boundaries in these cases. There were a few friendships where I put forth disproportionate effort and emotional investment and ignored signs that the other person was not interested in that close of a friendship. Not everyone has to want to be my best friend, and it does not need to be a condemnation of who I am or who they are. We are just different. I need to respect their boundaries. And there are a growing number of friendships where it's okay to only see someone every once in a while. All my friends don't need to be my ride or die crew. It's a rough world out there. We are overworked and underpaid, and sometimes the best we can do is set aside a bit of time during the holidays to reconnect with old friends. I get depressed when friendships change and feel personally abandoned when I can't see someone as often as I used to, and this isn't fair to me or them. Rather than throwing out the entire friendship, I'm really trying to work on seeing friends as not just a tiny exclusive, close-knit group of confidants that I constantly vet, but a growing net of people who each have their own purpose and different levels of intimacy in my life. I rationally understand it, but getting there emotionally has been tough. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I overthink everything. Someone says hi to me in the hallway. Did I say hi the right way? No, of course not. You said it in way too high of a pitch. Now that person will never talk to you again, you idiot. It's just dumb things that I sometimes can catch myself doing. This could never be a red flag to other people because they won't know that you overthink until you tell them. Source: I'm an overthinker with ADHD, which is like overthinking in overdrive. I'm typically so afraid of upsetting/hurting people that I often struggle being direct and honest with people, especially people close to me, and then letting them treat me like shit, but being too scared to say anything because I care a lot about them and don't want to push them away and lose them. Did this with one friend all throughout high school. I ended up crying after school at least 3 days a week. I got a boyfriend in my last year of high school and finally had an excuse to not constantly hang out with her. She'd say she wasn't stopping me from hanging out with others when I brought it up, but then when I went and hung out with them, she was like, "You coming, or what?" Anyway, she was upset with me for abandoning her for my boyfriend's lovely friends. She potentially said to other people who were nice to me that I was a traitor or something. Can't confirm this though, because a lot of our mutual friends stopped talking to me. She went to a different school to me the next year, and she invited me to a few things she was going to, but besides that, I was glad to be rid of her, and tried not to talk to her too much after that. I now have friends who are so nice that even when they do normal friend things I'm grateful, because I didn't realize how bad my friendship with that girl actually was. My boyfriend and I are still together after more than 3 years, and his best friend is my best friend, and it's amazing to have these two great people in my life to lean on when things are tough. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. I find myself getting upset with people for not meeting expectations that I haven't communicated to them. This is what I struggle with too. I overthink a lot and always put other people's feelings into consideration to such an extent that I assume others do too. My boyfriend says that the biggest difference between us is I'm a lot smarter and can read him better and know what he needs/wants, maybe even more so than he knows. I usually just expect that he thinks the same way I do and is also always taking me into account way more than necessary as well, and then I disappoint myself when my internal expectations aren't met. It's something I've been trying to fix for so long. The thing that has helped me the most is, instead of focusing on what random expectation wasn't met, is finding something that my boyfriend did to be grateful for and outwardly expressing my gratitude towards him. I hate being told what to do. For me, I think it's a power dynamic consent thing, and probably a trigger overreaction to issues in the past of being too passive with people. If I'm in a role where I've consented to being bossed around, like boss/employee, I'm generally fine with being told what to do, and sometimes welcome the guidance, since it means less decisions I have to make. If I haven't consented to it, then it feels like they are trying to control me, and provokes the defense mechanism. Warm and enthusiastic off the bat. It's shallow, and I'm actually a very distant person, but people often think it's a connection. Also, I'm self-satirizing in a way where I'm really just trying to mask my arrogance about the thing I'm making fun of. And I tend to treat everything people say as if it's agreeable, and it betrays the fact that I don't take them seriously. I ghost everyone. I make people worry, be sad or angry, just by disappearing from one day to another. I don't do it on purpose. I just get distracted in my life and forget that I have relationships. And sometimes I do shit without telling anyone, going to a night walk/an adventure with friends/vacations, and when I return I find out that everyone was worried about me. I think some relationships went to shit just for that. I have an overinflated opinion of myself, aka a giant ass ego, to the point that I have to remind myself sometimes that I'm just human and not better than everyone else. I'm also incredibly lazy and manipulative if I want to be. I low-key think I would be a real hazard to others if I wasn't so self-aware. Also, I'm very empathetic to the plight of others, so that helps to keep me more humble too, I guess. Comparing your first and last paragraphs is an interesting exercise in psychoanalysis. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.